So what did you miss at Jubilee today? Well, you missed the reuniting of the dream team. At least I think it's the dream team. So and Denicio and Daniel Rubinoff and I we're back together again. It's the first time since gosh, I think middle of June. Three of us have been there together. So Daniel's music and prayers and presence, and I hope my preaching didn't let them down. Together we gathered on this long weekend, and it was a good gathering. We listened to the prophet Hosea, and as he speaks for God and laments the children who ignore him, who have, although rescued and always loved by them, have turned to empty false gods, who imagine they can do it all themselves. We heard that same God say that anger, sorrow, pain, these are real experiences, but God will not act in anger because God is not human. God is God. I took the passage and I reimagined it a little bit. Tried to reimagine it in 2016, but kept coming back to the fact that God will not act in vengeance, although hurt and disappointed, because God's love for us is so profound, and yet we cannot seem to listen. We find God's ways, even the idea of God, to be quaint and old-fashioned, but that God will roar, but will roar in love, not in vengeance. And in that roar, remind us that God is always in our midst, always inviting us home. With that in mind, we listened to Luke's gospel, and we heard a young man ask Jesus to help and settle basically his family inheritance, to work it all out. It didn't seem fair or just. And we heard Jesus tell the parable of the farmer who had a good year, abundant crops, and in an effort to figure out what to do with his abundance, decided to tear down his barns and build newer ones, bigger ones, to store all his grain, that he might sit back, put his feet up, and relax, be merry, say to his soul, we have done all that we can do. Finally, believe that there is enough. And then God says to him, you fool, for your life is to be taken from you tonight, and who will benefit from all of these things? We wondered about that story together. We wondered about the God of conspicuous consumption. We wondered together about when is enough enough, and recognized that many of us sacrifice the things that are truly important as we chase after conspicuous consumption, false security, money, power. We never stop to enjoy our lives. We also recognize that some of us have it beaten from us through tragedy, through grief, through struggle. But in the end, there is enough for us. God is enough. When we really come to embrace God through Jesus Christ, we recognize a God of abundance, a God who is enough for us. And so, although we may be searching for external validation, we need only look to God to know that we are lovable. We may look for riches and power to somehow secure us from difficulties in the future, but we really need only look to God to know that God is enough, that we are valued and capable and able to get through whatever comes, that we're never alone. And if we can accept and engage with that God, then we begin to understand that we don't have to hoard. We don't have to secure our own future by desperately grabbing. And in that, we can relax and share what we have. We don't need to build bigger barns. We can share our harvest with others. And when our harvest is poor, we needn't worry because we know that others will share with us as well. Because when we come together as children of God, when we are one in Christ, we realize that we have and we are enough because we have and we are with God. That's what we discussed today. And we sang some great stuff. It was a good day. sorry you weren't with us, but I hope we get to see you soon. Until then, God bless.